want to protect your soil, suppress weeds, and add nutrients back into your soil over the winter? Hi, I'm Sarah from Jackson Creek Farm, and we are located in the Midlands of South Carolina. We are a micro flower farm that focuses on offering fresh flowers and dried products. We offer wrapped bouquets, DIY buckets, custom orders, and we serve our local florists. And today I wanted to go through and share with you our process for getting a bed ready with cover crops. I also wanted to share with you the crops that we are using to overwinter, and then finally what we do in the spring to get the beds ready. If you like this kind of content, then please subscribe, like, and share with any other gardener you think would really benefit from this information. So what are cover crops? Cover crops are plants that are chosen primarily to improve the soil health, and they're not grown to be harvested or sold. In fact, there are actually 4 different kind of reasons that farmers and gardeners choose cover crops for their soil improvement. First off, one of the benefits is avoiding erosion. If you, of course, don't have anything growing in a space, then water and wind will wash those things away. So some cover crops are chosen primarily to help retain that soil. Another reason that people grow cover crops is to suppress the weeds. Again, if you have nothing growing there, weeds are going to take over. But if you put something that is beneficial, then you're using up that space and making sure that the weeds do not take over. Another reason is that they add nutrients back into the soil, or they actually scavenge the soil to draw nutrients so that the next crop that you grow in that space will have easy access. And then finally, another reason is to aerate the soil. This has multiple benefits. Aeration helps roots for the next plant to be able to spread out. And then the other reason is the water retention and flow. If you don't have that good, healthy aeration, then water has 2 options. It can either run off or just puddle and stay. And clay actually is really good at doing that. So when do you start cover cropping? It really depends on what season, obviously, if it's winter or summer. Since we're talking about winter, I'll give you the textbook recommendation. The textbook recommendation is 6 to 8 weeks out from your very first frost of the winter season. However, what I've learned for my area is that's not ideal at all, because that would mean that I would be planting out in September. And this year is an excellent example of why I wouldn't want to do that. This year, September turned out to be much hotter than August, which is typically in the books as the hottest month of the year here in our area. Last year also taught me that we got a random frost in the middle of October, and it wasn't a hard frost, but then we didn't see a hard frost until practically Thanksgiving. So had I done the textbook, I would have had crops struggling for a while until the cool actually came in and settled in. So what I generally have experienced from my cover crop growing is that October is best for me. Now remember, we're here in zone 8A, so it's hot for quite a while. But for your area, it may be different, and it's really important to figure out what that is for you. Now, why am I sitting right here? Well, before I introduce to you the 4 crops that I'm using this winter, I wanted to show you what soil looks like when you put cover crop in it. In this row, I had a mixture of, well, sadly some grass, but also some mustard, which is really excellent. And what that has done is it has aerated the soil. Mustard is really excellent for making the soil super fluffy, and actually one of the biggest, in my opinion, benefits of mustard is that it sucks out bad or disease issues that might be in the soil. Now, this winter, we're going to be growing 4 different crops, and I'm going to give you a few reasons for each one as to why we're growing them. The first one is winter wheat. Now, the emphasis on it is on winter because it means it can get through the frost and the cold season. The reason we're doing winter wheat is because it helps also aerate the soil. It helps draw nutrients, but the main reason is that it helps avoid erosion and then later on becomes a great organic matter and mulch. The next one that we're doing is oats. Oats are also good for scavenging nutrients and bringing that to the soil. They also, of course, aerate the ground, and they do also become excellent organic matter. Now, one of my favorites to use is peas. Peas have an ability to put in and draw in nitrogen, which lots of plants really like and need for proper growth. And here's where I want to make a very important statement, still emphasizing the importance of cover crop, that we need to be good nurturers of our land. And so we want to give back to the soil and not just constantly plant things that take. And this is why peas are great. Again, this is winter peas that will make it through the cold season. And they will also become great organic matter. And if you are on a homestead like we are, it becomes a really delicious treat to many farm animals. The last one, and it's gaining in popularity, is crimson clover. Crimson clover also sucks up and draws in nutrients. It also puts in nitrogen, brings back nitrogen. But another really important benefit, which peas do this as well with their flowers, but crimson clover is well known to be a great resource for pollinators, especially during a season where it's hard for pollinators to find resources. It becomes one of the first crops that pollinators go after. And since we are very concerned to not only give back to our land, the land and ground itself, but we also want to benefit the pollinators because they are reduced by quite a bit. Show you now what it looks like with the grains. I've gone through and mixed these together, and I'm going to spread them here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. But I first want to show you what these grains look like. So, for example, the long grains that you see right here are the oats. And then these shorter brown ones right here are the winter wheat. These, of course, are the peas, and if you notice there's some black dirt on my finger, that's actually the inoculant used to help the peas. And then the white seeds are the crimson clover. Now, I've mixed in here probably more than what I'm going to end up using, but I didn't want to have to go back and mix some more. So now you can watch how I'm going to go through and spread them and cover them with dirt. So now, why am I standing right here? Well, I'm in the middle of a row that I had planted several weeks ago of buckwheat. And as you can see, some of the buckwheat is kind of poking up. I had crimped it down a couple of days ago, and I guess some of it I hadn't crimped down far enough. But there are a few different options of what you can do to get the bed ready, and we will choose one of these options in the spring on that one particular bed, and then I'll plant out whatever it is that I need to plant out. So one of the options I've already mentioned, which is to come down with a piece of wood and crimp it all down. Or the other option is to mow it or weed eat it, but then leave the stems here so that it becomes a natural mulch and it gets kind of put back into the soil with time. And the final option is to use a tarp, to spread out a tarp and just let the sun do its job of breaking down and killing it. But it won't be a killing that is destructive. It will actually be something where it becomes a nice, good, natural mulch for that soil. So this is what we've done here for this bed. And I actually have some sweet peas that I kind of tucked and grew between the mulched buckwheat, the crimped down buckwheat, and it's currently acting as a mulch for those sweet peas. And then eventually it will die once the cold comes, but the sweet peas will be able to continue growing. So if you found this information helpful and you really enjoyed it, know somebody else who would enjoy it, then please subscribe, please like, and share this comment so that we continue to grow and help other people learn our tips and tricks of gardening and flower farming in a regenerative way that gives back to the land and to our ecosystem. Thanks for following.